Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. This is the greatest sports podcast, First and Goat.
2021.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Today's May 25th, 2023. Welcome to episode 19, pilot episode. We're still calling pilot episode 19. Welcome back to First and Goat, your weekly dose of sports entertainment. There's other sources out there, but right here, come hang out with us and shoot the shit on every Thursday night here with our, if you watched the show before, we need no introduction. But if you haven't, this is a three-headed goat monster right here. Adan, Luis, and myself, Sal. So let's get this show started. And Adan, take it away.
Let's do it. Awesome job, Sal. Welcome, everybody. Leave a comment. Give us your recommendations. Watch the previous episodes. We'd love to hear what we could do better. What you guys would like to hear us talk about. Number one. So, do either of you, I'll start with you, Sal, think the Celtics have a chance at making history and coming back from 0-3? They've blown away Miami the last two games. If they win Game 6, Game 7 is at home. I think from the other 149 playoff series that the team has gone 3-0. Nobody has ever come back from it, right? But I think three teams have gone and made it to Game 7, have come back and forced a Game 7. None of them have been at home. So what do you think?
I mean, is there a chance? Yeah, right? There's a chance for everything, right? But do they have a real chance? Yeah, they do. They do.
Oh, what percentage do you give them?
Man, if I have to pick someone to win the series right now, it's tough, man. I don't. The reason it's hard for me to say that they have a chance and a real chance because it's Boston, and I'm not a big fan of Boston. Period. They already did it with the Yankees, and I just don't like that city. Sorry, man. For all the Bostonians that might watch this episode one time, I hate your fans. I hate your city. But do you guys have a chance? They really do. They do. I said before, I think it all depends on what Butler does. And I think Butler only put up 14 or 15 points today. He might be running on fumes now. I know they're going back to Miami. They're going back to Miami, but I think if there's no Butler, there's nothing. If Tatum goes down or he's not having a good time, I think they have other weapons. Not so much. Yeah, you guys, all the guys that could score, but if you gotta, Butler has to be involved one in some capacity to get Martin and Vincent and Strauss, all those. If there's no Butler, they're not gonna get their points off. So do they have? I think they do. They have a legit chance. I think they got some momentum, some confidence going. Do I pick him to win? Not sure yet. We'll circle back. We'll circle back to that right now. I just have to think about it because we just saw what happened right now. They're going back to Miami. That's the only thing that's the only thing Miami has going for them. That they're going back home. That's the only thing. If they just say the last two were Boston, the series, I would have told you right now, look up the odds, and I would have told you right now, man, put that money on Boston. But Miami playing at Miami Game 6 is the only thing they got going for them.
Luis?
That's a good question, Adan. It's so good question because I'm telling you right now, when this whole run that Miami's had, I just never bought in. Besides always just saying man, Jimmy Butler's possessed, they're only going to go as far as he takes them, right? And they just, they get, what did they get past Milwaukee, right? New York, which is an afterthought. I think people even forget that New York was in there. And then now Boston, right? 1-0, they go up 2-0, 3-0. So this is how ridiculous I am as a basketball fan. Once they went up 3-0, I'm like, oh, that's it. Jimmy's going to the finals again, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's it. 0% chance Boston comes back. You know, they're down 3-0. They haven't really put up a fight. They're talking about the narrative was that they quit, right? In the third quarter, right, of game 3. And I'm like, that's it. It's over. You know, the coach for the Celtics was apologizing already to everybody. How shitty of a coach he is, how he's been. That's how badly he's being schooled by Spo. 0% chance. Then they give one away, and I'm like, to me, as a basketball nerd, I'm like, man, Miami has to win it, like, which is so hard to beat a team four in a row, unless you're Denver. But it's really hard for a team to beat you 4 times in a row. And I'm like, it's in Miami. They cannot give, even though they didn't have that fire in them in the series, Boston, man, they give one away. Then today, now I know that Miami was missing one of their guys that's been averaging 15, 17 points a game.
Yeah, Vincent.
His name right now. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, you know, because I feel like Miami needs every piece of help that they can get, right? And then they're at Boston, but I didn't expect them to get whooped the way that they did today. So now after today, I'm nervous. So I give them a 50% chance now of coming back and winning it. And that's not even a good percentage, but it's really going to be based on, obviously, this is going to sound so dumb, but game 6. So, you know, that was going to be my Los Aseguro. Like, you got to tune into that game if you're a basketball fan. Game 6 is game 7 for Jimmy Butler, you know? Because I'm telling you right now, if Boston wins on Saturday, they're winning game 7. That's it. So game 6 is game 7 for Miami. So, yeah, man, I'm nervous. I think the Celtics could pull it off. You know, I don't know.
Why are you nervous? Like why do you care so much?
I became through the narrative of the playoffs. I became a big. I got no horse in the race, right? I just wanted to watch good basketball. You know, so if it's Celtics Denver the finals, I think it'll be an entertaining series. But you know, along the way, I just really am pulling for Jimmy Butler. To get a second chance at a ring, and hopefully, man, if he could win a ring, that would be a great story. But that's not how sports works, you know. It's not always the best story that's going to play out. It's going to just be whoever's the better team. So I'm nervous because I want Jimmy to at least make it to the finals for another shot. But if they lose, man, on Saturday, that's it. I think, will they be the first ones to come back 3-0?
First ones.
In basketball, yes.
When
So I got a question for
LeBron did it. When LeBron did it, they were what? It was
3-1.
3-1? Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, man, I'm nervous. So, Saturday is my tune-in game. Cannot miss it as a basketball fan. And I think it's going to feel like a game 7. But if they go to Boston, forget it.
I like that. Game 6 is game 7 for Miami. I like that.
Let me ask you this right now. Because how much more confident will you feel if Butler would have told you, he comes out and says right now, we can and we will win the series? How if he said that, how would you feel? Do you how much faith? How much you put on that?
Yeah, that's one thing that I've liked about Butler this playoff run. That he's been, I think he's been, you know, kind of speaking a lot with that type of swagger and then backing it up. You know, the biggest thing that they're doing right now, that's I don't know how much weight there is to it. So if he said that, to answer your question, I would feel better. He would put me at ease. He would give me that.
What do you say? Do you think they win? Like you said, how much does that mean to you? How much you put on?
From him?
Yeah.
It means it carries more weight than maybe some other players.
Yeah, answer the question. How would you feel about it?
I feel like he said it. Did he say it, Sal? You're like,
because he just said that. Because he just said that.
When did he say it? Today?
Just now, right after the conference.
There you go.
We can and we win the series.
There you go.
So now, do you feel better now or what?
I feel better now. I feel better now because I hadn't heard anything. I hadn't seen any of that. All I seen that they keep posting when they're down double digits.
Sources right here. I got something.
Have you guys seen that where it's just a picture of him smiling and they're down and they're like, oh, he's not worried.
Fourth quarter? Yeah.
Man, no, man. Like, you got to be worried. But if Jimmy says it.
So now 50%, you're sticking with that after this? Luis?
Yeah, I'm still sticking with.
He says he's gonna close out. He feels confident closing out at home.
I feel better.
He
But
says
man,
he feels confident about closing out at home. So who knows? Maybe he knows something about Vince's
But
ankle.
see,
Like, yeah, you know what?
my problem
Maybe
is,
back.
yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, he's just saying. He goes, maybe he knows something we don't. You know, like he knows something about Vince's ankle and he leaked it out. So you
My
know,
thing is like, why did you close it out game 4? Now it's really hard, right?
no, Vincent.
A
Oh
team
no,
4 times in a
no,
row,
Vincent, Vincent.
or
Well,
at home,
yeah, for sure. You go when Boston is as good a team as they are. You
right?
know, your back is to the wall. Like like you don't know how they're gonna respond, and
And I think it's unfair because even though any other team goes up 3-0, it's pretty much a done deal. But this is such an anomaly, right? Like it's a 8 seed versus what the fuck was Boston 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like your regular 3-0. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be, man. Saturday is gonna be I think it's gonna be a good ass game.
Do you have a percentage, Sal?
right
So
now,
Luis is up to
No.
a 50-50, that is pretty high for
for what? No,
Gotta
it's
win.
not. They gotta. There's two games.
there's no team that has ever come back from
That's
being
kind of like a
down
weak.
0-3, and Luis is giving them a 50% chance. That's pretty high.
How much about you, Sal,
Let's see what the odds are for next week. You know, I mean for next game.
for Saturday?
Um,
El Bookie, always looking at the odds.
yeah, always on. There's no El Bookie Bueno right here, baby. But 50%, man, it's kind of like it's more like a push. You don't want to pick somebody. You got to pick somebody.
Right. I want to
If you
pick.
don't, if you're scared to pick somebody, just say, you know what, I don't feel too comfortable. You know, this
I
is not
don't.
my thing. This is
No,
not my thing.
I want to pick Miami, man, but I'm nervous because I think the pressure is back on them now. They've been playing with house money, so even though they're in Miami, I don't know, man.
I bet the Celtics are gonna be favored game 6. So
They've been favored this whole, besides like one game, haven't they?
Let me ask you another thing. Father, while I bring this up, does it mean anything to you? I mean, of course, it means something, right? Coming away from 3-0 deficit is a pretty big deal. But if it's a 2 seed coming back on an 8 seed team, does it mean anything? I mean, of course, it means something to you guys. It's something to you, but like, is it a big of a deal as it should be?
I think so. Like at the end of the day, why should it matter, right? Like
it matters a little bit because it's like, hey, you know what? Like, you're the better team. You're the ones that choked the first 3 games, and then you pulled it off. But like, why were you guys in a hole to begin with? You guys were the far superior team, most round team. Everybody was talking about you guys coming out of the East, and like, so maybe it's expected you should be doing this or no? I mean,
because it's never happened before. How could you expect any team to do it, right? Like maybe if there was like a 1 out of 100, like, oh, there's that 1% chance, but it's never happened.
But the AC to come back, and you're the
I
second.
hear what you're saying,
But,
Luis.
but the thing with me is that Miami took out, because if you're 8th, you're matched up against 1 already. I mean, they took out the number 1 seed. So if they take, they're in a position. They took out a number 1 seed. What was New York, 4 or 5 maybe
5,
seed?
I think, yeah.
5 seed. Like, so I just feel like even though Miami's the 8th seed, they're legit in the playoffs. They put it together, and just because they took out Milwaukee. I feel like if Boston was set up where they were gonna be swept, and then they come back to win 4-3. Yeah, I think that's a big deal for Boston. That shows a lot of, that they have a lot of fight in them, man. I think, and then they to go play for the championship against Denver, coming back, winning a 7-game series, being down 3-0. Like, yeah, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying, because at the end of the day,
it's a big deal, but it's not as big as it should be.
I get what you're, it's because they're gonna be the only one, right, in history so far.
Like, no, yeah, like, they're gonna celebrate, and I think you know how it goes. They don't. Nobody remembers the details. They don't remember. They remember who won, right, and who came back from the comeback, and who. No one remembers like, oh, well, they won because so and so was hurt, or you know what I'm saying. They don't,
Right.
and I think that this is what was going that I said people are gonna forget the details and who it was or the fact that they were the A seed, but I mean it kind of means something. Like I said, it's it's I'm not saying
Well,
expected, but you put yourself in that situation and you want to kind of like I wouldn't celebrate it. Like, hey, you know what? Fucking whew. I would have been like this. If that's not my team, like, oh shit, whew, what the fuck was that all about? You know, like shit. Like, well, I wouldn't throw a fucking party. You fucking, you played like fucking bums for the first 3 games.
Right.
Mm.
I get what you're saying.
So
yeah,
it's
and
I
I
don't
think
know. I'll get the odds in a bit, but
but I
Yeah,
think
Miami's
Laurie
45.
seems like he's hurt. So going on. Let me phrase it this way. I get your point, Sal. I still think it'll be a big deal. But let me phrase it this way. If the Celtics had swept the Heat, would you be surprised?
no.
No, right? So they could sweep them. It's just on the other 4 games, not the first 4 games, but the last 4 games, right? Like if the Celtics had swept the Heat, be like, oh, Giannis was hurt, the Knicks suck, but the Celtics had it together, so they swept the 8th seed. So this could just be a sweep in the last 4 games instead of the first 4 games. I still think it'll be amazing. I'm gonna fucking, be brave here, and I'm gonna say the Celtics come back and they win and they go to the finals.
Like how many percent? What percentage?
100%.
100%? Wow.
I'm
So I was
saying they're
leaning towards
gonna
the
do
same
it.
team,
They're gonna be the
but I was
first
gonna
team
say
to come back.
I hope not.
Oh, 3.
this is what I'm gonna say. Right now, Celtics are favorite to win next game, minus 145. I was already leaning towards Celtics, 100%. No, I wouldn't say
If they win
high. I was
game,
thinking 80, 85%,
yeah.
but I hope I fucking jinxed them. I hope I jinxed them. So I'm going, hey, Celtics, 85 to 90% chance you guys come back and win the next 2 games. Let's go. Let's go. I'll be falling on your face.
That would be pretty insane, right? The Boston Red Sox were the first team to do it in baseball, and then for the Boston Celtics to be
That's another
the
reason why I wanted to do it. I don't
Um,
like Boston.
So speaking of sweeps, Luis, what is the biggest reason that the Nuggets swept the Lakers?
Man, they were able to do what other teams weren't, that the Lakers knocked out. They were able to close out games. So every time the Lakers would push in the fourth quarter, they would either hold them off, and there was, I think, maybe the last 2 games, the Lakers had the lead and Denver came back. You know what I mean? So in these other teams, I don't want to say that they laid down, but man, as soon as the Lakers gained momentum in some of those games, when they played Golden State and Memphis, in some of those games, Golden State and Memphis were up double digits, and when the Lakers tied or went ahead, like that was it. Like they never looked back. I felt in a lot of those close games. And Denver, no, they kept their composure. They it's not like some of those games were pretty close, so they closed out games. I felt, and to my surprise, they continued to hit some tough shots. Not that they were shooting lights out. There were stretches where they were missing a lot of shots, all their guys. But I still feel like I don't think you guys maybe felt like that last game, the last couple games, but I still feel like LA, like I know they got swept, but they kind of laid it out on the floor. They were playing really good defense. Like I don't feel like Denver was just hitting wide open shots, easy layups. I feel like they were making some really tough shots. You know what I mean? That I think the other teams that they played, Memphis and Golden State, they were missing those contested shots. So that was it. I mean, they were just closing out games, man. I think that they had a lot of poise. Denver has been a good team for the last 5 years. But the thing that they've been known is that they choke in the playoffs, right? That they haven't been able to go over that hump. They haven't been extremely healthy too, but they're a legitimate team. They've been around for a while, being the one of the forces in the West. But the thing with them is that in the playoffs, they always choked. And if you guys remember going into the playoffs, they were up the whole season. And then going into the playoffs, that's when they went into their losing streak, remember? And they were kind of like stumbling. They didn't go down in seeding, but like they were stumbling in losses, and then
Uh-huh.
people were like, "Oh, Denver, I don't know, it's like a bad time to, start sucking, right? Right before the playoffs, no momentum, and I don't know, man. They just got it. They put it together for the playoffs. They blew out. Who did they play the first round? It was Minnesota, maybe, or
Yeah, right. I think so.
and then
No, that
Phoenix.
was the play
They
games.
they handled Phoenix. I think they beat the first ones in 5, the second one in 6, this one in 4. Like they're playing great basketball. But yeah, man, I just think that they held their poise and they hit tough shots and they closed out games. They didn't get all rattled like the other two teams when the Lakers made a run or took the lead, late in the game.
Val, you agree?
I don't know what he said. Blah 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 blah. No, okay. No. First of all, I just want to say, congrats to the Denver Nuggets. A 4-game sweep against this Lakers team is pretty amazing. I think why they lost that was
The biggest reason why the Nuggets won, not why the Lakers lost. You could go either way, but I wanted to give the Nuggets their credit and say what's the biggest reason they won.
The biggest reason they lost is because man, if I have to pick one reason, it's just an experience of this team outside of LeBron and AD. They traded for D'Angelo, and I was kind of excited about him, and he did great, and he up into the playoffs and the first 2 rounds, and then he went MIA, and like I know he was benched, his limits were limited, and somebody brought up a point that like he's not, like what's the word, like not as involved, so he's cold and he's coming in. Like, no, it's like I said, you've been in the league long enough. You've been playing basketball since you were like, man, when your number is called, go out there and you gotta step up. If you're not making steps up, you better step up on defense. You gotta make some kind of plays. And D'Angelo choked. Reeve kept him in the league, and he kept him in the game, but then he kind of cooled off at times. Ryu, the same thing with him. Vanderbilt, I don't know why he didn't play, but the whole point is that outside LeBron and AD, it's just there was nothing there. Like it's just they weren't battle tested. They said this was AD and LeBron were the two from the court. We touched on that about the bubble. But outside of them two, that was it. No experience. Then lack of experience. Nuggets pretty much had the same core. You had Jamal, Jokic, Porter, and you had some veterans that stepped in. It's one thing if you brought in some veterans, but you bring a bunch, guys that graduated high school like what 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. These guys, how old is Reeves? Like he has to be like 23, 22 or something.
I don't know. I think he went to school for like the 3-4 years because he was undrafted.
Well, let's just say he's
like a 4-year college, 5-year college fucking player.
So the big reason is just like the team that was built, but that was put together. Like I said, I'm not gonna backtrack or what's what I'm looking for.
Badmouth the Nuggets.
No, not bad mouth. Like I'm talking about the Lakers. I'm not saying the point is I was excited by this team, but at the same time it was like this is the best they got at the time, and it was a big upgrade from Westbrook and Westbrook. Sorry, it comes out. And Beverly, something's like I'm like that's life. You have a chance now. You have a puncher's chance, And I was hoping if D'Lo, what? Forget everybody else. If D'Lo would have showed up, the game would have been different. That's the one guy. It's Russell, D'Angelo Russell. If he had shown up, and I'm not saying to go all out, ball out. If he had just an average game, this series would have been different. Nuggets would have played different. Like it's just AD. He was up and down, but for the most part, he did more than I expected. Like I thought he was gonna be hurt. Like he was still putting up numbers. If people are still knocking him like last game or two, but if you bring up his numbers, his points, rebounds, like dude, he put up some numbers, and then like LeBron could do so much. Not making excuses, but at the same time, he's 30 years old. He had that nagging foot injury, and I think it showed. It showed. I think he didn't have that first step. I think LeBron knew that there was like game 2 and 3 or before that they had a chance when he was driving and posting up and banging down low. And I think, I don't know if he got tired or his foot got weak, but then he was settling for 3-point. And like, he's smart. Like, I think we all agree that his IQ is pretty high. And he was not making, like, like, in the stat showed he was like 1 for 19 from 3-point land, and he just couldn't, but he would just still pull up and shoot threes. I don't know if it was to maybe get out of his shooting slump, but I think it had to do with his foot. Like, I can't go down there. I can't cut to the basket. I think I have to just, if I can, what's the word with for shooters? Um, no, kind of like you die by the sword, like, fucking, this is where I'm at. This is what I put up with. But it just didn't work out for him, like I said. But I still getting kudos for the Nuggets. I think it would have been different, like.
Or to keep him honest,
it is what it is, huh?
To keep him honest, like, if you don't shoot when you're open, then you gotta keep them honest. They gotta come and guard you, and then you could go inside.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But I said, I think it wasn't falling. Anybody else was like, hey, my shot's not falling. You gotta pick your shots. But this guy was stubborn, and I think he's smarter than that. And I think it had to do with his foot injury. Now they're talking about they might have surgery, or that might be an option. But like I said, it just the first couple games he was cutting some baskets bang. Like, Logic would have told me, hey, why not keep that up? At least try. And I just think he was trying to give his foot a break. He thought, hey, maybe we'll go to 4, game 5 and 6, and maybe I'll get better. And I think last game he went back to that. But I think it was where you're down 3-0. Like, there's no guarantee that you're gonna play game 5 and 6 or 7. And he went back to his old self. But I don't know, like, but I say 4 and 3 was just like. It was. I didn't see the LeBron way that the Lakers needed to see, but whatever. I said kudos to the Nuggets. I'm sorry, I'm just repeating myself, but
what were you gonna say, Luis?
I just wanted to interject. You guys call me out. This is a safe place, But we don't have time for it right now. But
make time for it.
What Sal said was exactly what I had said. I don't know what episode when the Lakers were going into it. Exactly what you said. They're a 7 seed for a reason. There's a reason they were going to make it all the way into the finals. We did say, a healthy AD was, key. But at the end of the day, it's what you said. They're role players. They're depth, right? I think they upgraded by trading away Westbrook and Beverly. But at the end of the day, the rest of their core, it's just the lights are brighter in the playoffs. There's more pressure, But I feel like they were still doing a good job with at least one of them stepping up, The one thing I would say out there and I just want to hear what you guys think about that. You can't have it both ways with LeBron. I'm not just talking to you guys. I'm talking to the whole sports. All fucking year, all I heard was year 20, baby. Can you believe he did that year 20? Every fucking thing this guy did, year 20. Then he fucking gets swept. Hey, Year 20, what do you want? Year 20. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't put him up in a pillar and then defend him when he gets swept and he can't get 2 shots out.
I don't think Sal's using the year 20. Sal is saying the foot injury,
foot injury. So
I think that's why I was saying let's recap what I said. And I want to recap what I said real quick, and so we can move on. So the injury, and I said the core of the team. But I want to single somebody else. It's D'Angelo Russell, and pull up his stats. Like, I'm asking for like an average D'Angelo Russell game. Keep those guys honest or whatever. I think it would have been a different outcome. Maybe going 6 or 7. Maybe the Nuggets still win, but it wouldn't have been a sleep. D'Angelo just crapped the bed. It was as far as the year 20 thing. Like, everybody, come on, you're exaggerating, Nobody came in, especially LeBron supporters, said, well, this is year 20. Look what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Because at the time, he was hurt. Nobody, Adan, I didn't say that. Well, LeBron, like, I don't, it wasn't a freebie. If you talk to me or ask Adan, like, we're talking, hey, man, we were going for a championship, And it's disappointing. I'm not saying, like, wow. It's still pretty amazing. It's good. Year 20, Think about anybody else that's done anything remotely to what he's done. And when he said, I don't know if it was true or not, that he said that he's still better than 95% of the league. Like, yeah, he is.
So
but I said,
yeah. That's the
But-
thing.
but-
That's the
we're-
enigma that
Huh?
LeBron James is to me as a basketball fan. He's a fucking enigma to me because this is the guy that will break the all-time scoring record in that fucking game that he broke the all-scoring record. His fucking team lost. The season that he does it, swept out of the finals, right?
Oh, I like the way he said that his team lost.
Right.
Thank you. Because who was on the team? Thank you.
Team
Because
lost.
it was a team effort,
Right.
right? Thank you.
Right.
So
And that's what I'm
LeBron didn't
saying.
lose. It was a team, right? I
Right.
want to clear because a lot of people, when LeBron's team loses, they
Right.
pin the losses on him. But thank you
Oh.
for bringing up that the team
Yeah,
lost. Okay,
I mean,
thank you. Go
because
ahead.
he's because he's LeBron, right? Because he's the main guy. But yeah, it's a team loss, right? They get swept out of the finals. He
Conference
did have the ball in the last game 4. Like I think they're at home, right? They're at home, 2 chances of it. And I would argue, man, that it wasn't LeBron. I mean, and you know what do I know? Maybe his foot was hurting. Denver was giving him those shots. Now he did start hit. The difference was in game 3, in game 4, he went into little stretches where he was hitting a couple 3-pointers, and then he kept shooting them. But the first couple games he wasn't. I think they were giving him that shot, and he just wasn't hitting it. That's not his game. His strength is, just kind of ramming his way through the post. But yeah, it was just that's it. That's who LeBron. You can't deny how skilled, how high IQ, his greatness as one of the all-time best players in the world. But then there's a lot of things that I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning him. Like, man, there's a lot of shortfalls to his game, and it just rubs me the wrong way, man. He's a smart guy.
Of course it does. I
He
think you want to. I think you want to
guy.
chime in on that, or I will. I got something to say too, but I want to give you a chance to.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. To be honest, I think the Nuggets won because they were able to close out games, and I think the Lakers lost because of the inexperience. They were putting lineups together that had never played together. Like that game 4, they were playing lineups that never played together during the regular season. Beasley became unplayable for some reason. Vanderbilt didn't play. D'Angelo played like 4 minutes. Brown didn't play. So like all these the trades that they made were great, but at some point that inexperience in the Western Conference Finals showed, and most of those players were just unplayable at that time. And LeBron, I mean, I thought he had a great game, 31 points at half. The Nuggets adjusted, and the other players couldn't hit layups that third quarter. LeBron was getting doubled. He was getting them to AD, to Schroeder, to D'Angelo. They all missed fucking layups in the third quarter. And these guys beat them by 20 points, took the lead by 5, and they have the closers. Every game that I see, what I don't understand is when something's working, for some reason, they go away from it. And I don't see that the defense changes. Like when Jokic got his 5th foul, next play, pick and roll with AD, LeBron layup at the basket because Jokic is not going to want to get fouled. There was like 3 minutes something left. And then LeBron, and I know he's smart and he knows he needs his teammates. They went back to the pick and roll, but then he was giving the ball to AD because he had the height advantage. If I was LeBron, I would have kept on driving it against Jokic and getting layups. But, I don't know about his foot and all that stuff because he did play. His game did go down after he had the injury, and when he came back, he wasn't putting the same numbers that he had been putting from like December to February when he was just playing amazing. Another quick thing that I'll just say, the Nuggets, because we're not in Denver, right, and we don't get to see them all the time. It seemed that they were kind of struggling because they weren't going on, winning 8 in a row or whatever. But it seems to me that what they did is they just said, forget Jokic getting the MVP, forget the numbers, forget all that. They started resting their players. They're like, we got the number 1 seed. They actually positioned themselves to be ready and rested for the playoffs. Instead of us thinking like, oh, they're struggling. No, that was their plan all along. They didn't need to win more games. They didn't need to play their guys 40 minutes. And they were ready and rested to fucking kick ass in the playoffs. All right. My take, so.
No, but I think that's it. As far like no one's giving LeBron an award or trophy for doing what he did at the 20th season at age 38. But at the same time, you should recognize, at least appreciate what he's doing. Like, he essentially carried another team on his back, uh, offensively and defensively for a good chunk of that series. Like, you saw him bang down low with the guy that arguably could have won this third straight MVP, a big bully down low, and he was down there, sucking it up. You didn't see Davis going down there. You don't see anybody else. And that guy, it takes a people don't talk about the offensive end, but there's a lot of energy that you exert on the defensive end. And like for you, like I said, to be banging down low, and getting bullied, because even though he defended Jokic, Jokic is still backing him down and tossing his weight around. To me, I still appreciate it. I wish it was a different outcome, and I said I'm not gonna give him a trophy for it, but I'm still gonna remember like what someone at his age, 38, 20 year in the league with X amount of minutes on his body, and he's still doing what he did. Like, hey man, my hat's off to him. Hey, thank you. And I know there's talking, and we could dive in for a little bit. Like rumors or him chirping that he retired my final season. I don't believe it. I could be wrong, but like if I had to bet on it, he doesn't retire. Maybe he's frustrated. Maybe it's like a negotiating tactic to bring in, like who he wants. Like, hey, you guys, kind of put the Lakers front office like, hey man, you got to go all in now. Fuck this young player bullshit. I don't know what the thought process is, but at the same time, it's kind of like you kind of realize, and a lot of people should like it because it's coming to an end. Whether he means it or not, retirement's around the corner. It's gonna happen. So hats off to him. I still want to thank him. I say I'm a fan of his. I grew up again. I'm gonna go back. I grew up watching Bulls, Jordan, Pippen, and company, and made me fall in love with this game. And after Jordan's exit, retirement, fucking baseball wasn't the same. Even though I still appreciate the league, it did. And LeBron made it fun for me again. And it's gonna suck because the next year or two, or maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully it's longer, 3-4 years from now, but it's gonna come to an end. It's gonna retire, and I hope people could like even and I don't classify you as a LeBron hater. Like maybe you dislike the guy, you definitely you prefer Jordan, but there's definitely other people that just hate this guy for whatever reason. I can't stand him, his demeanor, the way he talks, the way he plays, the flash, blah blah blah. Man, like shut the fuck up and just fucking, just so and just watch him play. And just if you're a real basketball, just appreciate it. So it doesn't have to be a top 5 player. I don't give a shit. You want to put fucking Kobe or some other bum up ahead of him? Hey, whatever. To each his own. But appreciate it because it's gonna be gone. You're not gonna see, and it's probably not gonna happen again and all that. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope there is another GOAT debate. Before we fucking. But is it likely? I think we're blessed, and people are, just they're taking it for granted. So let's go. Let's see what happens in year 21. Yeah, age 39. To be continued. That's other.
Before we move from basketball, 8-piece stat of the night, as promised. In 1995 NBA Western Conference Finals, Rockets versus Spurs. This is the year the Rockets were number 6. The Spurs were actually the number 1 seed. The first 5 games all went to the road team. I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about the last time. Right. So Spurs were number 1 seed, Rockets were number 6. Rockets won games 1 and 2 in San Antonio. Spurs won 3 and 4 in Houston. Rockets won game 5 in San Antonio, and then they closed it out in Houston. So we talked about this because we were talking about Miami, beating the Celtics the first 2 at home. And it's happened. It could, it's happened before. Let's move on really quick. I have another basketball thing, but we'll see if we have time. Luis and I watched the Haney Lomachenko fight, and I think my thing froze for a couple of rounds. But Luis, you were keeping score. I'll go back and I'll say kind of one. I think I had it 7-5 or even a 6-6. 7-5 for Haney or a 6-6 time. What did you have?
Yeah, so I ended up watching it. I haven't rewatched the fight. 6-6. I had a tie, going back and looking at my scorecard and looking at other people that have scored it too, that I guess, and I'm just watching it at home, right? By myself, I don't know how to score a boxing fight, right?
Don't say that. Don't say that about
I
yourself.
know, but that's the thing with boxing is very subjective, right? Because even the people
Edit that out.
very
Edit that out.
subjective.
Yeah.
Very
Red flag,
subjective.
buddy. Hold on. Don't.
You're a fucking expert. You're a fucking
Right.
expert, guys.
No, but what I mean is, it's
You
very
play the same with basketball. This guy.
it's very subjective. So I had it 6-6, but I don't know. I know you guys were busy and stuff, but I gave the first 4 rounds to Lomachenko, and I think maybe I was being a little biased. Not that I wanted Lomachenko to beat Haney. I think I was giving him too much credit, especially round 1 could go to either guy. It's not like either guy dominated, and so a lot of people gave that round to Haney. So just that round difference would have gone from a tie to a 7-5. You know what I mean, for Haney. But I think I gave so much credit to Lomachenko, which is unfair. Like, that's not the way to score a fight. You can't give somebody credit because I was giving Lomachenko credit because he was doing better than I've seen other fighters against Haney. That doesn't mean shit. You don't get extra credit for that. And also that he was starting off faster than slower. That doesn't mean anything. It's at the end of who wins the rounds. Now, with that said, I still think round 1 is a toss-up. Nobody could say, like, that's a Haney round no matter what, or a Loma round. And then the next 3 rounds, they were pretty tough. I mean, they were pretty close, besides maybe one that went to Lomachenko. So I could see it very easily how this was a Haney win. Like, I wasn't disappointed. I don't know if you guys were seeing it. I had it. I ended it up tied, but I felt like whoever won the 12th round was going to win the fight. I felt like whoever won the 12th round was going to win the fight. I thought it was that close. There were so many 50-50 rounds, but it depends on what you like. If you
who did you have the 12th round?
Was that?
Who did you score for the 12th round?
Haney. But Haney, I gave it to him, but that would have given him a tie. Easily one of the other rounds could have gone to Haney. It's not like Lomachenko was dominating, but it's what you like, right? So I thought that Haney landed the harder shots, right? He was going to the body. I felt like the rounds that I felt that Haney won were a lot more evident, and Loma was doing more flurries. He kept landing his double left straight hand, and Haney couldn't figure out how to stop getting hit by that. But the thing that was interesting is either guy, if Loma landed on Haney, Haney countered. He could get hit. It was a clean hit, but he'd get Lomachenko, and vice versa. If Haney got Lomachenko, Lomachenko would counter with his shot. So I thought it was a very even fight. It was a very cerebral fight. I give a lot of credit to Haney. I mean, this guy is 24 years old. He's beaten what's the Australian guy twice?
Camboza?
Was that?
Camboza?
Yes. Wait, is it? Yeah, from the Australian
guy. The guy that beat Teofimo.
Teofimo, I mean, he's beating Lomachenko, I just feel like he's 24 years old, man, The thing with Haney that he lacks is that he doesn't have a personality. He tried to be a bad guy and shove Lomachenko, and I felt like that gave a lot of more fans to Lomachenko, but that's not, Tank Davis is a punk, right? He's just a natural punk, and he could just play that card. Haney was trying to be somebody he's not. He's like kind of soft-spoken. He's kind of like a more reserved guy. It's like, just be yourself, man, and just beat the shit out of people, and people will want to see you lose, that's it. Like, don't try to act like something that you're not. But man, this kid's 24 years old. And real quick, the last thing I wanted to say was the thing with boxing that makes, these fights should happen more often, right? I heard that they only did about 150,000 pay-per-view buys. What does that mean? Ryan Garcia and Tank did 1.25 million. That's not even in the same atmosphere, right? Now that's not a loss. Like, that's for pay-per-view, 150, 200,000. That's kind of like a regular boxing pay-per-view, but it's it's such a big difference, right? From like a Ryan and Tank Garcia. And that's why a lot of these guys, you know what I mean? It takes forever to make a fight because they want to make money. They want to maximize on the money. This was, I think Haney's first pay-per-view. So hopefully he could build up on that. It's not like Tank started
Well, he wants Tank,
for a
right?
million.
He wants
Tank
Tank.
Davis. Yeah. But then you got Shakur in there too. And then to be honest, I really, really think he should rematch Lomachenko, It's a controversial win for him, even though I think he did win the fight. But all the great fighters, they rematch their controversial wins, I hate Mayweather, because I always just wanted to see him lose. But the two controversial fights that he had, he rematched, He rematched Castillo, and then what's our boy? Maidana or something like that?
Yep.
And on the rematch, he beat them. There was no controversy in the rematch, So all great fighters do that. Not all great fighters, but some of the great fighters do that. So I would love to see Haney fight Lomachenko. My hat's off to Lomachenko, though. I mean, he's 35 years old. He's taken a couple of tough losses. He was very emotional after the fight. Now his team is did you guys see that they put in a
breaking news? What happened?
No, they put in a complaint against
one ref?
No, the judging, the scoring.
Yeah, not the so one of the judges, right? They had it
like get reviewed, and but that doesn't happen in boxing. When they put those complaints, they usually don't overturn the result.
I don't even think they look at that.
That guy Ted, I think Ted Atlas. That's the guy's name, right? He's boxing guy.
Teddy Atlas.
Teddy Atlas. He also complained about one of the judges that had it.
Moriarty.
Yeah, he had it 8-4, and gave round 10 to Haney, and they said that one just was a clear win for Loma.
I don't know if you saw that, but I mean, I didn't watch the fight, so I am going to watch it. I'll give my 2 cents, and not that it matters. But you brought up Shakur, and he had scored initially for Lomachenko, I think 8-4, and he said that he rewatched it, and he said that it's more like 7-5. I guess he gave Haney around. So now I kind of want to go see it. But yeah, but you touch on the buys. It's just the time and age we live in right now. 2 professional boxing did this to themselves. They fucking made pro boxing suck. I talked about this before. And 2, they didn't adapt. This is a different generation. They want to see fucking YouTube influencer sensation. So those Ryan Garcia, those numbers, they get those buys came from Ryan Garcia fans or followers on social media. Nobody bought it for Tank Davis.
I think it's also wanting to see Tank lose. That's kind of like how Mayweather made some money. I get you.
No, but Mayweather and Davis are 2 different.
No, but people do want to see Punks lose.
They do, but I think those buys were for Ryan Garcia and to see him win. I think that guy has a huge following. He's a big influencer, just like the Paul brothers, the Paul boys, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Paul
and the other guy.
Fucking don't start yawning, Luis. Don't fucking start doing that.
It wasn't.
I'm just gonna be throwing out stats throughout the night as always. Did you guys
I want to make another topic real quick, but go ahead. I want to finish. I want to hear
this isn't a stat, just a random thing just to wake everybody up. Did you guys know that the Bulls, Jerry?
Oh, the Bulls. What's about the Bulls? Let's talk about the Bulls.
So, but this long time ago. The one season when Michael Jordan played baseball. Did you know that he paid him his salary from the Bulls, even though he retired? That 93, 94 season that he missed, the Bulls still paid Jordan $4 million. They still paid him his salary.
Why?
I don't know. That's all I found.
See, that's crazy. That sounds like
you know what that tells me? They're like this. Come on, man. You got to fucking retire. You got to get the fuck out. So it wasn't Jordan's decision. It was their decision. They kind of influenced it.
You think it was the betting? Like
it was something. That money influenced it. Hey, man. Fucking here's $4 million. Take a hike.
This got more interesting than I thought. I just found out the fact that they.
Let's look into it. Let's go deep dive.
One thing I wanted to say real quick to your point, Sal. I think with boxing, I think you're absolutely right. Boxing did do this to themselves. I'm not gonna act like they haven't. But it does take 2 to tango, right? I mean, Ryan has been out there. This was also his first pay-per-view too. Like it takes two to tango, so it has to be the perfect storm. You know, so I would say it's not just all Ryan. There's a lot of Tank fanboys, men out there.
No,
too.
no, no.
There
no,
are,
no, no,
but
no,
not
no,
like
no.
I know what you're saying. But Ryan fans
If
are buying
that were true,
pay-per-views.
let's look up.
It's just
And that's for
like
another episode. I'm curious. Let's look up his previous 3-4 pay-per-view fights
For-
and see what kind of numbers he
for Tank?
he brought in. I'm telling you, it's different. And Davis is good talent. Not knocking him, you know, not
That's
knocking.
what
But
that's what
it's
I'm saying.
The matchup matters. Yeah, the
It
matchup.
does.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. The names matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
those
that's
guys are
fine.
just buying Ryan
That's
Garcia.
what I
Ryan
meant to
Garcia.
say.
Ryan
That's what I
Garcia.
meant. Yes.
Yeah. That's all it is.
I think you're right, but it does take like Ryan Garcia has fought other guys and hasn't blown it out of the water, and he still had the same followings. It's not like he announced I'm fighting Tank Davis and then he just got millions of subscribers. He's always had these people.
Let's find out right
But
now.
it takes
I don't follow any of
two
this.
to
I'm
tango.
gonna find them on
Yeah,
Instagram alone.
you're right. He
On
did. he
Instagram
was
alone.
the-
Let's find
he
out
was
the
main
followers right
event
now.
on a pay. He was the main event on a pay-per-view. And he didn't have those.
Well, I think
But before I look up
Ryan Garcia, I think this
the
was
following.
his first pay-per-view.
Just hold on. And you know what? This I don't even have TikTok because fuck TikTok. But I'm gonna look up. This is Instagram numbers. I'm gonna look up the followers, right? So you still got TikTok and whatever other platforms there are, right? So like, let's just take a percentage of the following. How many bought the fight? Just whatever. It could be whatever.
Right.
What do you think?
Bro, I think
For
like
Ryan, what do you think?
1%,
Okay, let's just say 1%. And for Davis, how many 1%?
like 90%.
Okay, fine. We'll go 190%. No, I'm looking right now. So Ryan Garcia on social.
I follow him.
Oh, do you? Okay. So okay. So on Instagram alone,
Yeah,
Ryan Garcia has 10.4 million followers.
damn it.
All right. Let's go, Davis.
Yeah, but I don't think you could go on that.
No, we're just running out numbers. We're throwing numbers out.
Yeah.
How do you spell his first name? Let's put Tank Team.
I follow him too.
Well, Sal's looking at that, Luis. So
No.
you know,
No, wait, he tried. Hold on, Gervonta. Hold on, yeah. Hold on, he said 90%. It's gonna be like he's gonna have like 10,000.
I think he has more
nah,
than that,
he's
but
got,
not
he's
like
got,
Ryan.
he's
He doesn't
got
have 10
millions.
million.
Okay,
I
he
don't
has
know
half
about
that. He has 5.7
That's-
million, and 90% did not buy that.
90% is buying it, bro. Who's following Tank Davis that doesn't like boxing? What does he do besides box?
Yeah.
He doesn't
See,
rap. He doesn't
Okay, you
act.
bought the fight. You bought the fight.
I bought the
wi-
fight.
wi-
Okay,
Ryan
so-
Garcia, women would be following Ryan Garcia.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
But
They're
they're
not
not
buying the
gonna buy the pay-per-view, bro. What are you talking about? If all 10 then instead of the 1.2 million pay-per-views that they sold, it would have been 10 million. If everybody that
According to the
followed Ryan
numbers,
Garcia-
yeah. So I don't, and obviously those numbers are super skewed, right? It's probably, but Ryan has. It takes two to tango. It was a perfect storm. It was a perfect storm, molding casual fans to hardcore fans and everyone in between. I mean, it did 1.25, 1,250,000 in pay per
What
view.
was Davis'
It was
last
a-
previous fight?
No, it was.
We're gonna go rabbit hole. We're gonna
No, it was like 200.
We'll revisit it. Let's revisit it.
200,000 or something like that. It wasn't. It was a big jump for him too. It's not like it. I'm not saying that it was Tank. I'm just saying it was a combination of
You
everything.
don't want to be wrong.
No, because that's the truth. it's.
I got a couple
both.
topics. You guys, how much time you guys time? Can be honest.
So what?
How much time you guys got?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good right now.
I don't know.
Well, and we went away from it, but you want to hear a funny stat that I know you guys are just gonna dismiss, but I think it's kind of funny.
Come on. Bring up the
Game
LeBron
four-
stat. Come on. What
Game
happened? What
four of
happened?
the
How many
Lakers-
times did he
What do you mean?
flop
What do you
or
mean, stat? You
how
mean,
many?
a
How
fact?
many
You
points
wanna-
he
you
scored
wanna
in the first
throw some kind of
quarter?
fact?
Come on.
No, game 4 of Denver Lakers. You guys don't have to do it right now, but look up who had the best plus or minus for the Lakers. I think you'll find it pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious. Just a little nugget.
D'Angelo Russell.
You got it, my guy. Now, he had the best plus minus. Game 4. for the Lakers. Because I heard
Too late.
that's the only
Too
one.
little. Too late. Too late. By how far? By how much? By how much?
I think it was a +6, and then the next closest guy was a +1.
How many minutes did he play? How many minutes did he play?
He played like 14 minutes or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. See, so take that
I
stuff.
don't, hey, I'm just giving you the stat.
Turn it sideways and shove it up your ass.
I'm not making it up. I'm just saying
I
that.
know you're making it up, but take that stat, turn it sideways and shove it up your ass.
Yeah, that's why the plus or minus. I mean, I don't even know if that's a real thing to track.
Someone once said to me, "You torture the numbers long enough, they'll tell you what you want to hear." So.
I just thought it was
just to put a pin on the fight. So I said I had it 7-5, maybe 6-6.
What I forgot to ask you who to
I had it. I had Haney.
So maybe Shakur was stirring the pot, right? Shakur was kind of like
no, he was just talking.
Okay, cool.
Well, the thing is, it's more than him. What I find interesting is there's people that find it like incomprehensible that Haney won, and that throws me off because, like you're saying, there was a lot of rounds that were really close, and judges have their own preferences, right? Like there's judges that like defense, there's judges that like attacking. I thought both guys were doing really well. Like you were saying, if one got hit, they made sure that they came back and they got some punches in there. And even though Lomachenko himself was just like, he was saying like Haney's is not a real, pound for pound one of the best, and that he thought he won easily. And I was like, there's no way that people can't say that Loma could have won 7-5, that it could have been 6-6, or that Haney won 7-5. The fact that people are just saying that that's impossible, that Haney won, just completely throws me off because I don't think that those people know boxing either.
And you said it. I think that's what it is. People they're reacting to the crowd. They're reacting to the boxer. They're cheering their guy, right? They're not looking at it objectively. And then the announcers too. Tim Bradley, which is he was announcing the fight. He wanted Lomachenko so bad to win, and he was cheering him on and predicting punches that he was going to throw that he hadn't thrown yet. And he got so much backlash that then I heard that he rewatched the fight and scored it for Haney, while he was losing his mind about how Lomachenko, So I agree with you, Don. I don't think it was, people are saying that it was a robbery. It's not a robbery. It was a close fight. It's a Haney. And you're right. It's very subjective with boxing. And I'm old, so some things matter to me still. Haney was a champion. You got to come and take that belt from the champion. You know what I mean? You can't go in there and take the 12th round off because you think you're ahead. You know what I mean? And let it go to the scorecards. And that's what Lomachenko did, Like, he has a big name. He's been around for a long time, but Haney was a champion. You gotta take it from him. You know what I mean? Because people were like, oh, but Lomachenko was like, no, you got to take it from him. And I don't think Lomachenko did that. I think Haney, did enough to counter him and win. Yeah, and after I had it a tie, but it could easily be 7-5 Haney. And I had it a tie because I think I gave too many rounds to Lomachenko in the beginning that were kind of toss up while they were feeling each other out. So
check it out, Sal. When you
watch it, you should watch. It's a good fight, Sal.
Yeah,
I'll give the official winner when I watch it. I'll tell you who fucking truly won. All right,
perfect.
Hey, you know what? Put a little poll question right now. I want to see if people are interested in watching us watch a live fight. And we commentate it round by round, If they're interested, I'm sure they are, because who wouldn't want to?
Why would we even pull that? Yeah, they totally want to see.
Man, that's gonna be hard for me to come.
Just tell us which fight. Tell us which fight. Don't tell us if you want to. Which one do you want to hear? Another fight. Canelo fight.
There you go. But I'll look at the schedule and I'll put like, hey, what fight do you guys want to listen to us call live? It's gonna be hard, man. I don't know if I could come up with enough stats for like 3 hours of boxing, bro. I'll try though.
This guy, when he tries, he comes through. I like that. You try a little hard out.
It sounds Sal could be giving us his predictions every single fight.
I'll get back into it. I lost touch a little bit. I by a little bit I mean a lot. Because boxing sucks now.
Man, come back in.
I hate to fucking say that out loud, but I like to be honest.
It was a good fight.
You asked me who's the GOAT, I'll tell you who's the GOAT. The sport. Hey, you know what? I don't know because I still enjoy it. I want to watch it. I peek, but the profession itself, it's fucking, it's garbage. A bunch of alphabet belts and fucking, fucking people ducking everybody. It's fucking. I don't want to get into the tangent, but I whatever love I had for that sport, it's done. It's done.
I love that you said
rekindle, it's like the ex, he come back like, hey, let's try this again. I learned from my mistakes. Like he goes, I missed you. Let's do all right. But right now, I don't see it. Because I think after this Ryan Garcia fiasco, I think people will say, you know what, the numbers, the money is with YouTubers and influencers and all these fucking social media stars, and that's what it's probably gonna go. They're doing nothing to promote the fucking athlete itself. And so I hate to say that, but
okay, but
in our lifetime, it's gonna be garbage.
Aren't you excited about Haney, Tank Davis, about Crawford versus Spence? Aren't you excited about those? Like Canelo versus Benavidez?
So you're taking away a lot of thunder.
Yeah, we got.
When I tune in, I'll watch it. I'll watch it like a casual now. Hey, you know what? Let me see what happens. Oh, so and so won. Oh, okay. Oh, Benavidez. Oh, I still want to go to Vegas. Like, hey, like watch a fight. Like, hey, experience Crawford. But at the end of the day, so.
No, I get it. You know what, Sal? I'm gonna butcher.
It's not. Think about it. You're comparing. Maybe you're just trying to see where I'm at, or or maybe you're trying to suck me back in. But think about it. Like, even if they're good fights, even if they're decent fights. Oh shit, I had a good time. We had a blast. Fucking good. It's not gonna take me back to fucking before 2000. I'm talking about like that's how I just dated myself. I'm talking about like the 1990s, the 80s, the 2000. You know what I'm saying? After 2000, I keep on saying 5 to 10 years ago. No, boxing stuck before that, man. It's just like I've been saying that. Like, oh wait a minute, time goes on. It's been 15, 20 years. Like, what was the last era? The last era was that Pacquiao Marquez. When was that? If I look it up, it was. Oh man, I hope it's not 2000. I hope it's after 2004 because that'll be really old. I'll date myself. But like, was it 2004, 2005? No, it was after that.
Yeah,
later?
It was. I was in Dallas, and it was like 2011 or something.
Okay, so that was that trilogy.
When Marcus knocked down Pacquiao, I was in Dallas.
But think about it again. It was that little rivalry, right? Outside of that, heavyweight hasn't been good for like what, 25 years.
Well,
what other rivalry? What other class? What other weight classes going on there?
Sure.
I don't know. Canelo Triple G.
That wasn't. How long ago was that?
It was after Marcus Pacquiao.
I'll give it that. But you're talking about one rivalry in one weight class to carry an entire sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about like 80s, 90s. You had heavyweights. You had from Tyson to Chavez, and then you put in Roy Jones in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, like not in the middle, but like what weight class was it? Like
he was in between them, yeah,
or whatever it was. And then dude, like you had fucking rivalries and people going at it in all sorts of weight classes. And then you went from like just a rivalry in a specific weight class.
I'm gonna give Luis the last thing on this before we move on, but I feel like you're confusing good fights with rivalries. I'll just say that.
No, I'm talking about eras. I'm talking about eras of boxing. The era.
But you're saying rivalries, and rivalries like, okay, these guys fought each other 3 times and they hated each other, like you mentioned Marcus and Pacquiao. But good fights or eras don't necessarily mean rivalries. It was just
no, but I'm saying that's the last rivalry fights that actually carried the sport. After that, nobody cared.
Right.
And before that, there were multiple rivalries in multiple weight classes. But it's like a funnel. It just and now they're spitting out fucking YouTube stars.
But I think what you're saying is that there were a lot of talented fighters that were fighting each other.
No, that's what I'm saying. And there's probably talented boxers and athletes out there right now, but they're not being promoted. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not blaming them or the sport that nobody cares about it. It's just like these organizations, all these alphabet belts, they fucked it up.
They did add too many belts. Luis?
No, I love it, Sal. That's great. When I hear Sal, I can hear that the guy is passionate. At one point, he really loved boxing. Then the question I was like, who hurt you, Sal? Who hurt you? That's what I get. And I know the answer. Boxing did. Boxing.
Yeah, WBO, IBF,
right. I'm like,
WBF,
who hurt you, man? And you're right. And
Like they were punching you.
You're 100% right because boxing did.
No, they ignored me. That's what happened. It's a girlfriend that I love. I was turning the corner and she kept ignoring me and she paid the money and I was a sap. I was like, I loved you, you know, but I loved you and I would have taken care of you, you know. But now I want the money. I want that fucking scumbag, you know. I want that bad guy right there, you know. No, but go ahead, Luis, please.
No, but I think you're right, and that's boxing's been falling off, and it's a mix of what you and Adon said. It's because the best are not fighting each other, man. They fight. It's a one and done deal. I beat you, and then I'm off to the next guy. You know what I mean? But. And I could, the water's warm, man. It's getting a little better. And I'll tell you, I'll finish it off with this. I know that Ryan Garcia, you categorize him as a YouTuber. He's a legitimate, star in boxing.
I fucked up.
Fighting Tank Davis. And it has started this mini dominoes. It might be small, but it's baby steps. Then you got Loma and Haney fighting. They didn't want to fight before. Loma didn't want to fight Haney before. His excuse was because it wasn't for a belt. Doesn't have to be for a belt all the time. Tank and Ryan wasn't for a belt. And they outperformed, Loma and Haney. And Haney and Loma was for a belt now. And now you guys it took some of my thunder away for you guys to Se Los Aseguro. July 29th, Terrence Crawford.
You heard it here first.
Check this out, guys. This is what I'm talking about, Sal. You asked for it. They heard you, man. You just got to give them a chance. You got to give them a chance. You might get hurt again, but you got to give them a chance. These fucking guys, July 29th, they're fighting. They have an immediate rematch clause, both of them. So it doesn't matter who loses. 30 days, and it has to be this year. Meaning they're fighting in July. Then these fucking guys are going to fight again in November.
December, yeah.
And depending on what happens, guaranteed.
Well, which one are we going to? That's what's probably, we got to be there. Right. Which one are we going to? The first or second one?
Let me throw this last thing out there. If it's a split, they might go into a trilogy, these guys. Now, let's say one of them wins both of them. That guy, there's conversations that he might then go for the undisputed belts against Jermell Charlo. So you're talking about big fights lined up. And then
you got me hooked right now. You didn't read me in.
I'm just telling you, these guys, are in their prime, and man, they're gonna be.
I thought that was warm.
Good. July 29th. That's gonna start it off, man. And then you guys were the ones that told me about it because I've been negative about it.
What the fuck did I say this time?
Fucking,
I was drunk.
His camp reached out to Canelo, right? David Benavidez.
Oh shit!
If Canelo then fights this fucking year, let's say something happens, he doesn't get to fight Bivol, and he fights Benavidez instead. Like, dude, that's fucking insane. That's a crazy idea for boxing. So in September, so
we'll stay tuned.
Give it a chance, Sal.
Like my compadre my compadre Alfredo says, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
There
you go.
Well, we'll see. I didn't give up, but I mean, you know what? You know what's more exciting? UFC.
That's true, man.
Even you're crazy to watch that shit, man. What the fuck? And the best part, it's over in 5 minutes sometimes. Hell yeah! You go out to this and I have a drinks, have a good time.
What does UFC? What do they do that boxing doesn't? They put the best against the best, man. And they will have trilogies. Those guys, they'll fight each other 2-3 fucking times. So I'm hopeful that boxing kind of starts going back that way.
They don't put everything on having the right? Like the boxers, it's like who's undefeated. And
that's fucking Mayweather's fault because there's no other undefeated really. There's not that many undefeated fighters. You know what I mean?
Who cares about
Mayweather started?
Yeah, but I'm saying that's one of the difference in UFC. It doesn't matter if you're undefeated or not. If they still bring you on board. If you could still fight, they still put you in good fights. I mean, come on, there are some boring UFC fights. I'm not gonna say that. I find it more
nowhere is close. Nowhere as close as boxing. Boxing undefeated. It's easier to be undefeated in boxing than it is UFC. You know, if you're quick enough and you have defense, jab, move, run, jab. In UFC, hey, you jab and move, motherfucker. I'm gonna run and tackle you. He goes, if we're not gonna stand up and fight, I'll fucking put you to the ground and I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you, or I'm gonna fucking wrestle you and choke you. Yeah, that's a fight. So I stopped calling boxing fights a long time ago. I went back to the old school. Hey man, boxing match. But no, I call them fights just because layman. Because people, but it's boxing are boxing matches. They're not. Don't call them fights. A fight for me, if you get in a fight with anybody else, trust me, they're gonna be like, no.
There's just something about
choke you, bite you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, whatever to get the job done. So boxing are matches. UFC are fights.
There's just something about the sweet science, bro. Like I
do. It's pure. You know, we grew up in that era. You know, and I appreciate it. And you know, the sport itself, I was in love. The profession, it could go fuck itself. You know.
Can I ask you an unfair question?
Let's go back to basketball because fucking you're gonna be crying right now.
One last question.
We're talking about LeBron again. No, not LeBron. No.
Would you do you have any interest if even finding out what's gonna happen with Nate Diaz and Jake Paul? Just because he's a UFC guy, he's a fighter.
No. He's done. And I like that guy's a tough motherfucker, man. And I think, man, it just this comes from a novice. I think he has it. He's a tough motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think that what fucks him up is you know, the whole all that scar tissue in his face. He just bleeds and he's fucking that impairs his vision. But he's a tough son of a bitch. He is. So, but them fighting, I want to give a shit. I hope he beats Paul.
Right.
But I don't turn into any of those fights. I never. Even when you know, hey, here's a link for a live stream. Nah, I don't give a shit. Spare me. Spare me. It's like I don't want to contribute to that bullshit. You know, it's just yeah. So did I make myself clear?
Heard you.
Got it.
You love fight. You love
no more fucking YouTubers.
You love boxing. You love it. It just hurts you.
I did. It did.
Hey, so let's go back to basketball really quick. I mentioned this probably like 3-4 weeks ago, and I never brought it back.
Why? What happened?
I fucking hate.
That's a strong word. What do you hate? What do you hate? That's a strong word.
Charges. I don't understand. I was trying to find the history of it. I don't think it's a basketball play. I don't even think it's safe for the players. They get it wrong all the time when it comes to a charge or a block. I say you get rid of that fucking rule. You go for the block. You make a bet. I'm not saying get rid of offensive. You know what? When you still push a player or something, that's still offensive foul.
But I want to chime in right now, but listen, if you got any thoughts, if you don't, I'll chime in right now.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. So a long time ago, I liked charges. I thought it was like, you know what I mean? Like, because I felt like it was, and maybe I'm wrong, but
okay, that threw a curveball. It's not your fault. Take your time. That just threw a curveball.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, and I don't know if there's a way to look this up, but I don't think there was as many charges before as it is now. You know, I felt like there were more here and there and selective, and I thought they were a good defensive play because they were so obvious that guys had their feet set, you know what I mean, and anticipated. But I feel maybe it's stupid, but maybe I'm wrong. Guys are so fast and athletic nowadays. Like everybody's kind of shifting their feet last minute, and then it's on the ref's discretion if they're going to call it or not, you know? So I don't know, man. 20 years ago, I thought charge was a good defensive play. You know, like if I saw Rodman take a charge, you know, and he anticipated somebody that was going to drive a certain way, I thought it was a good defensive play. Nowadays, it does drive me a little nuts, and I don't know why there's a difference now than back then. But I always feel like people are shifting their feet still last second, and it's up to the ref to call it, you know. if they were moving or not, and I feel like it's inconsistent. So I
Don't
hear
you
what
feel
you're
they
saying.
don't you feel they get it wrong like half the time?
Yeah, it feels that way. You know, it's
Only put it this
inconsistent.
because it's a deep question. It's a deep basketball question. I want to put some Bulls attire right now.
Equipment change. Nice.
Let me know when you're done. I want to chime
No,
in.
that was it, man. I'm conflicted. That's a good question, Don, because I'm just being honest. You know, back in the day, I thought it was a good defensive play. Um, I don't know if it happens more often now or there's more inconsistency, but now it does drive me nuts how. And then it's so stupid. I feel like they'll give a charge to one team that maybe wasn't, and then they'll give them another makeup call on the other hand on the other side. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't know. It does confuse. So that's very interesting. I never just thought of like,
Just get rid of it.
just getting rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they got to figure out how to call that when they're challenging a shot. Man, I feel like anytime you challenge a shot nowadays, it's a fucking foul too. So,
You can't get a drink. I'm getting worked up.
so are you saying, Adon, that are you saying that
Mom, I'm doing my podcast.
you're saying that
I
the
gotta do something right now. I got worked up right now.
Tell us.
tell us,
What do you
tell us.
think?
No,
What do you
I kind of.
think?
You guys finish. Luis has something to say. I want to say something right now because it's another thing that's triggered is the wrong reason. I hate fucking the word there. I hate the word.
You're triggered,
But
man.
it got me. It hit home. It hit home right there. That question hit fucking home. No, finish your thought, Luis. I want to come in.
That was it, man.
I got you on speaker.
Conflicted. I'm conflicted, to be honest. You know, because I'm
Okay.
not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not as I don't feel
Mom,
as
I'm doing my
I'm conflicted.
podcast. Leave me alone, Mom.
But back in the day, I thought it was a good basketball play. I thought it was a smart basketball play, like the anticipation of, you know what I mean? Somebody. But nowadays, and I don't know what it is. I think it's the res being inconsistent. I feel like guys are just faster and more athletic, you know? So sometimes they get away with positioning themselves for a charge when it wasn't really a charge. They're just throwing themselves really quickly in front of the guy, which I don't
Yeah.
feel is the same as before. Before it was very lame, you know, they would like anticipate, set 2 feet down, and they'd fly all the way to the back, and you know, the ref would dramatically call it a charge and everybody would go crazy. And now the guys are running together and the guy's just like boop and then flies out, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a charge, sometimes it's not. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I don't know if we remember correctly, but that's kind of what I remember too. Like they were set, you know, but the guy was still kind of dribbling with the ball, and they just anticipated, and they stood there, and the guy just kind of
But they kept going.
But now it's like, and this is against the rule, right? Like you're not
Go to sleep, Mom.
you're not supposed to still be setting when the guy's already in the air, but they do it all the time, and that's one thing. Like there's a lot of crazy falls because you know, like the guys go so high in the air, and then just I think it's unsafe for the players. I don't think it's a defensive play at all. Like getting in the way of somebody is not playing defense, in my opinion. You either fucking defend, you go for the block, you go for the steal, you go for the foul. I don't understand this rule because half the time they get it wrong. Yeah, I just think that just get rid of it. Just tell them like no more blocking. There's still offensive fouls, but no more charges. You don't. It's not gonna be called anymore. Anytime you're in the way, it's just a foul. So
I know what I want to say. I love my train of thought. I'm mad that I didn't bring that up before you did it. Then I don't know how you torn. I don't know, Luis. You must have not played the game before. But and I'm not knocking you. I'm not saying that I'm fucking better or nothing like that, or you're weak. No. But think about it. And that's something I did think about that a long time ago, and I just accepted charging because that was part of the game. And what pissed me off right now when he said that is that I always like to fucking think outside the box, you know, challenge fucking certain, you know, like logic, the conventional, fuck conventional wisdom, you know, like, hey, you know, this, you know, like just saying. And then when I thought about, and I let it go a long time ago, like, hey, I don't know why this basketball, I love basketball, It's the way it is, right? I never question it. But now think about it what I said. And that's 100% right. Get fucking rid of fucking charging. It has no use. Think about it. Now go back. You guys all played basketball at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so at what point in a pickup game did you try to draw a charge?
No.
Not because you're a man, right? Not because I'm 90s basketball, you know, I'm physical. It's just because someone's trying to score. He said, I'm gonna challenge that shot. And nobody gave a shit. Well, nobody dunked, because we're short Mexicans, man. But nobody done. But if you went up for a layup and you challenged that shot, you got scored on, motherfucker got in your face, and what the fuck? And you know what? Nobody said, damn, you got posterized, bro. You got, holy shit, you got fucked up. Or Luis, you got posterized. Man, that guy's, no. They give, hey, you went for the shots, you trash talk back and forth, and you back on defense. And that's how it fucking should be. Is it going to go? It probably isn't. But yeah, it should go in that direction. Charging should be fucking 100% eliminated. If you see fucking Jamal Mashburn just fucking comes to the basket and LeBron gets it late and doesn't get it, hey, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Jamal Mashburn.
I'll take the easy way out. No, I'm just saying because so that way Luis could probably think guard. But nobody just go in there to put 2 feet in. Oh shit! I got you. No. Charging should be, man. Where did you get that from? That one's great. Get eliminate box. Boxer. No, I didn't say eliminate. I said charging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get rid of. Yes, dude. I was there. I was fucking going there. It's just what if I scored at somebody, I didn't fucking like if somebody. I don't know if I got. I challenge somebody's shot all the time. And you guys, say I guess you guys are winning. And if I got scored on, I got scored on. But I wasn't like trying to slide. So like, oh shit, fucking no. That's a cop out. It's some bullshit play.
To be fair, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the point of charging is because the other thing is you're gonna go. The other thing you could do is contest the shot, obviously, right?
Yeah,
there's so many times where guys are just going up for contact. They're not even. They're just looking for contact so they could go to the line. You know what I mean? So
defending, learn how to fucking play defense.
No, but I'm saying like the refs they call when somebody goes up for a shot, they're going for contact so they could get the whistle. So I feel like a charge is supposed to offset that so that the guy's not always thinking I'm just gonna go up waiting for contact. You know what I mean?
They see a guy the ref shouldn't be as liberal with that fucking whistle.
Yeah, well, now that's a different thing. But I'm just saying, I think that's the point of a charge is so that guys aren't just because you can't have it. It's not just defenders punking out. The offensive players are also taking advantage of the rules, so they know they go up and they get contact, they're gonna get a call. So
I kind of like that now. You want to make the game more physical? Take away charging and start your fucking whistles.
Sure, but I mean, these guys are $1 million.
You know what? Who knows? Maybe I probably missed it because I'm drinking my my grandmother's medicine over here. When was charging instituted and for the
Okay, it's hard to find. I'll be honest. I was trying to find, but when you search NBA charges and all that shit, no, do it. It comes out like criminal records, like fucking charges.
Because you're supposed to put when it was NBA charging.
I put NBA charges, but it comes out like instituted. Or like when they were suspended, Runner Test was suspended for like what the fuck? Like it's hard to find.
NBA rule authority. I don't want to read this shit right now. Charges must go.
Yeah. Rules to be considered, but
good points.
To your point was I don't know exactly why it was instituted. I think it was just seen as like an offensive player.
You're attacking the basket too hard.
I think it's like an offensive player can't just
you can't just score like that. You gotta give us the chance to fucking
It might have been something like a Will Chamberlain or something, right? They can't just bulldoze another player. I don't know when it came out. Right. I just know it's inconsistent.
Right.
If it's not there, the defensive player is going to try something else, right? So even if the offensive player is just looking for contact, the defensive player could adjust. They could do some. I don't know. There's more they could do.
Revisit charging, and we're going to revisit the fight after I watch it. I give the official who.
Perfect.
But
Just
another thing, so we're talking about
when you
basketball right
watch the games, the charges, calls, and non-calls, and the exaggeration of fouls, that shit bothers me. The constant complaining by the players when like the smaller players have the advantage all the time, right? Because of this blocking. If you get rid of the blocking, the charges, you get rid of this exaggeration by these little players over the bigger players that, sometimes like a little tap and they fucking fly. And you know why they do it? Because they're getting compensated. If the refs wouldn't call the excessive exaggeration of falling and all this bullshit by even the big players too, but mostly the smaller players, they wouldn't do it. But they do it because that's the way they get calls. Like sometimes you see a harder foul, but the player like Jimmy Butler is a fucking man. That guy
dog. He's a fucking dog.
I don't see him complaining. I don't see him flopping. So when somebody fouls Jimmy, he stands tall.
Jimmy gets buckets.
And he doesn't get the calls like the other, like the smaller players that fucking flop, and I'll give LeBron does it too. Start grabbing their head and all that shit, and then we gotta go to the camera. All that shit.
This is European. Let me tell you this right now. Luis, chime in real quick. Give your 2 cents. Hurry up.
No, it's a good. I mean, I hear it. I just, I'm thinking like realistically, like you get rid of charging. I don't know what stops the player from just bulldozing their way into the lane and getting.
You block them. You steal their ball.
Challenge the shot. I thought you were talking about that. I thought we were talking about flapping right now. Come on, did we give him a chance to talk about charging, or let's the party? Or you repeat yourself?
The refs would have to. So that would have to be a rule. Then they would have to be more lenient on the game being more physical.
What about the flopping? Wake up! Come on, we're talking about flopping now. We stopped charging like 9 minutes ago.
But flopping, they do fine players for that. They started doing that too. You know what I mean?
I think they stopped. When's the last time you heard that a player got fined for flopping?
This is okay. You know what? This is where I was going to it. Because I'm sure I'm gonna guess. Please, are you in favor of flopping in the NBA? Oh, so no, I don't like flopping because fucking who the fuck is, Who says, what, flop, motherfucker, flop, bitch?
I agree with Luis.
My point is, like, why does NBA fucking get shit on for it? Like, of all the sports, first of all, let's start with soccer. They're the ones that fucking came over the fucking flopping. They flop left and right for like and nobody fucking shits on them.
People shit on them. You just don't.
People they do, but they don't care. Nobody says like Messi flop, Ronaldo flop. No, they don't. They did.
Yeah,
but nobody shits on Mbappe. Is that the kid?
Yeah, Mbappe. Yeah.
Yeah, him and all these other superstars. Like no, that motherfucker flaps. That like let's go back and not revisiting like James. Look at Luis. Look at this thing. Like James. No, the first thing. No, that guy flaps. That's his argument. No, I don't like him because he flaps. And then in soccer, they have soccer like, hey man, no, it's never that argument. They never bring up the flopping. Soccer, in basketball, the same shit. They flop, right? Football, they flop now. They sort of flop.
So,
what's the purpose of flopping? Because to manipulate the ref is at some capacity, right? Yeah. But they do that shit in all sports, NFL, basketball, even before. Flopping, they'll intimidate them, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you calling? Hey, what the fuck? The same shit. And baseball, what is the batter doing? Trying to fucking, make, or the catcher, like they'll move the glove, like manipulate the calls and shit like that. I'm sorry, this game late. The point is, like, all sports manipulate the refs in one form, in one way or another. And like I said, and there's flopping in the biggest stage in World Cup, fucking in FIFA, and in the Euro League and the Champions League, and it's like, dude, I don't know where the fuck was that going with this shit. But it's like they only concentrate on basketball. That's where I was going. They only concentrate on NBA. Well, it goes on everywhere. Yeah,
it does go on everywhere. No, but I think in soccer, They make a big deal out of it, you know?
They do. Nobody shits.
Yeah,
Like I said, you weren't paying attention because you're falling asleep. But no, but like I said, you bring on LeBron. Oh, he flops. Let's just say you're a LeBron hater, right? The first thing is, oh, he flops. Well, one of the top things. Let's just say, hey, Messi or Ronaldo. Messi, he flops. Ronaldo flops. They all fucking flop, but nobody brings that shit up.
Yeah. Especially the
They
kid
don't.
from
No, they
Brazil.
don't.
What's his name? The main guy from Brazil right now.
Yeah, I was trying to think of his name. That guy flops
Neymar?
a lot.
Neymar.
Yeah, Neymar flops a lot.
Yeah,
You know?
but they all do. That guy gets shit on because
Yeah.
he takes it to the next level. But
Yeah.
fucking, they all fucking do. You go there, you do literally. That's how bad. You're running behind and you touch him. Oh shit! And then they fall, and then they grab their fucking knee. What the fuck? What does the knee have to do? Oh shit!
Wait, are you
Oh fuck!
still describing
Oh, shit!
LeBron or is it still LeBron or somebody else?
Oh shit!
What, did
Imagine
you
LeBron. You hit him, and LeBron.
hit him, not even swipe at him,
Neymar.
he'll go fly.
You know,
Well, I just sent you guys the NBA heard you guys. I sent you the article. It came out today. So the NBA is trying to crack down on flopping.
oh, they are. I saw that about it
They're
earlier.
going to start putting it in
Technicals.
play for the Las Vegas Summer League in July.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an in-game penalty for flops that results in a technical free throw.
Yeah, single
Good.
shot.
Yeah.
Good.
I was trying to get that in there.
Fuck
But,
flapping,
you know what,
charging. Get rid of
Essentially,
charging.
I gotta see more. You know, do the coaches have to challenge? Like, does it come from the replay center? Like, I gotta find all the details. There's gotta be
Real
more.
quick.
the thing that drives me crazy.
We got more time. We got another 30 minutes.
The coaches, man, they're out of control. The NBA coaches, man, they're like
Malone, he's a piece of shit. What?
He's
Tell me, shut up.
crazy.
I'm tired of that guy.
I'm
I'm
like,
tired of him.
I'm all for a
nobody
coach,
gives me
you know.
enough attention.
They're
The
going
media,
crazy.
the national. Hey, shut the. Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck?
Motivating his team.
Yeah, exactly.
but-
And it worked.
Do you guys watch all the? I don't watch any of the post game interviews. Any of the like, I have no idea. I don't want to hear what
LeBron
LeBron
on social
has
media,
to
so
say.
we see the post after that. I know
Yeah.
you don't, because if
Okay,
I didn't
I
see social
don't-
media,
I-
I wouldn't.
I like LeBron. I like all these players. I don't care to hear what they have to say after the game. I don't give a fuck. I
That's
don't care
very
what the coaches have to say. I don't care what anybody has to say. I just don't care. I watch
If it's
the
generic
game.
news, if it's generic news, I get it. I don't hear it. Oh, we lost. We're gonna try to play it. But Malone, bro, that motherfucker comes out, dude. That motherfucker just says steady bitches. But we're not getting enough.
Hey. AP stat of the night. Happy birthday,
No. I still got some more shit to talk about.
Sal.
No.
It's midnight. Happy birthday.
Oh, shit.
Happy birthday. It's Sal's birthday.
I didn't think you remember.
Oh shit! Fuck yeah!
It's Sal's birthday.
Happy birthday, man!
21 years young, baby. Let's go.
21 years. What is this?
I do want to say a special shout out to
May 26th,
both of you guys. You guys made the past 365 days memorable, fun, exciting, knowledgeable, challenging, and man, I enjoyed every day. It goes. I think about you guys every day, not because you guys fucking text me about sports, but I welcome that, but because I appreciate your friendship, and I want another 365 years or centuries of First and Goat podcast episode. Thank you again.
Here.
Birthday, Sal.
I love you guys.
Here.
Thank you.
Man, happy birthday, Sal.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't think that you remembered. I never expected that.
This is the first and go birthday celebration.
It's
Birthday
yeah,
celebration.
man.
Hell yeah.
I was just boozing because I was drinking water because I was thirsty. I didn't think you remember my birthday.
Tomorrow. You're off tomorrow too.
Yeah, I work today to get tomorrow off. That's okay.
Hell yeah.
You guys tag along. You guys work from the office. You guys don't want to go drive in. But thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you. You guys, no, seriously. Besides fucking whatever the podcast, you guys are fucking badass. Thank you for everything like that. I love sports. It's man, what the fuck? I kind of shun away from it because I was kind of the only one that was into it. So I took other interests. Fuck that shit. So I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm hard with it. But the point is, like, I got drawn back into the sports and watching sports, the shit that I love, because you two guys.
Oh,
too,
nice.
man.
You
Oh,
two,
yeah, right back at
you
you.
both did, and my brother.
Me too.
You fucking like we talk, we text, and fucking, and they kind of and thank you, DraftKings and FanDuel. You made sports that much more interesting to me. I wish you were here. I wish you were in my life 20 years ago, when I was really good at this shit. But it's never too late, and like let's start this betting and podcasting together.
All right, you wanna sign us off on your 25th birthday?
Look it. I guess so. Nothing. No one's gonna add nothing else. No more charging calls or nothing.
No, we'll send
I
out.
want to
send out
leave it off
petition.
on a good note, man. Good note. Happy
Come on,
birthday,
come on,
Sal.
come on.
Oh, yeah, last thing. How much bullshit, LeBron James gets swept? He's such a smart, calculated guy, so then he throws in the
My
thing that he's
birthday,
gonna
you guys wish it
retire,
were now?
and it's bullshit. And then he follows it up with like, "Well, why would I retire? I'm better than 95% of the league." I cannot stand that fucking guy.
It
Fucking
sounds
LeBron James.
personal. It sounds personal.
Happy birthday, Sal.
Thanks.
Well, I think that's it. I think nothing else to add. Alan, you wanna chime in? It's over. All right.
It's
Well,
done. Till next time,
I'm
everybody.
over too. Let's go. We'll wrap it up. We'll fucking continue this next week. Luis, you fucking snuck that shit in last month. You're fucking dumb for this shit. But that's it. Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right, man.
Bye, everybody.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. This is the greatest sports podcast, First and Goat.